Oh, hello, everyone. Y'all, good afternoon. Good day, good afternoon. I hope that all of you are well. And if you're looking like, why is she holding her microphone? It's been a day. So, yes, I'm holding my microphone today. Hopefully, you can hear me a little bit louder. I have to say that technology has really been fighting with me the past 24 hours. It's just been fighting. And I don't know if y'all have ever had a struggle with technology, but just if you have, just stay the course and eventually you will win or unplug it. I don't know which one to do first. But hello, if you're joining me for the first time, my name is Lepore Lindsay, and I go live every Sunday at 5:30 Central, where we cover a different professional development topic. One of the things that I am absolutely passionate about is, in addition to having conversations, I'm passionate about workplace value. And so every professional development topic that we cover focuses on a way where we can share our value in the workplace. And by workplace value, what I mean is what are ways that the actions that we take contribute to the overall goal, to the overall mission of the team, of the department, whatever that case may be. So if you're curious about some previous episodes, you can catch them on YouTube. That's probably the best place to catch previous episodes, but I do go live on LinkedIn and Facebook as well. But that scrolling on a page can be a lot. But on YouTube, they are all there. And it's just for 15 minutes. Just for 15 minutes. I try not to stay much longer than that. So just little snippets that you can utilize. So today we are talking about the progress pause. We're talking about the progress pause. And with this, it's about building more by noticing what you've already done. So when we think about this pause, most of us measure progress by hitting a finish line, by hitting a major goal, or getting a project delivered, or hitting a whatever that number is that we need to reach, or that timeline that we need to reach. That is us meeting that goal. And for many of us, that's also a way to measure progress. When that happens, then hey, I've reached that goal. Whenever I complete that project, then I can check that off that I have reached that goal. But here is the problem when we only focus on the finish line of that goal. When we only focus on that, if we're not studying what we're doing now, we're not studying what's working now, and we're not able to appreciate what we are doing now if we're only focused on the next step. And one of the things that I say is that if we're always focused on what happens next, when will we ever appreciate what we are doing now? And that's so very important to kind of keep in mind. But I think that the common trap that we fall into is that when we're chasing that goal, and there's nothing wrong with chasing goals, there's nothing wrong with having a timeline in our minds and of this is what we want to accomplish. But when we chase that goal, when we are looking for those achievements and we're not focused on now, then that is a lot of times where a gap could eventually present itself because we're only focused on what's next. We're not looking at the now. So I feel like I've worked in career development a good portion of my career, even though now I'm more focused on professional development. It's still focused on career development in a sense. And one particular job I had, I used to always help people with their resumes, and I always got such excitement whenever I would hear or see someone's facial expression after we worked on their resume. They were able to see how the things that they were doing now lined up with what they wanted in the future. They didn't have to go out and do anything different. They didn't have to do an additional task, an additional project because they were already doing it. But it was just a matter of taking that pause and recognizing what they were doing was already wonderful. And one person in particular, I'll just call her Z. Um, like she literally had tears in her eyes when she was able to see that all of the work, all of the effort that she was putting forth for years, how it contributed to the overall goal. And I think that a big part of that is when we take the time to acknowledge what we've done, when we take the time to acknowledge and appreciate all that we have accomplished, how that helps us overall in our development. And it doesn't mean that we can't be still be ambitious, but finding contentment and appreciation with where we are now is so very important as we move forward. So, we're talking about the progress pause and how we can build on for our future by paying attention to what we're working on now. And one of the things that I covered briefly at the beginning was that, most people think that tracking progress is just about future improvements, the metrics, the KPIs, the OKRs, the reports, that final finish line of the project. But the real power actually happens when it flows in both directions. So when we are looking forward as to what's going to happen next, what is that next step, but also when we take the time to look back, we need both. Think about, I'll use this analogy, think about a car. And in a car, we have that windshield when we're moving forward, but we also have that rear view mirror. Maybe some cars may be missing it, but for the most part, you're gonna have both, right? And the reason for that, if that forward part is being blocked and you can't see anything moving forward, it's going to be really hard to navigate your next step. And the rear view mirror gives us the opportunity to see what we've passed, potentially what from the past is coming up. So they both work in order to help us drive effectively. And it's the same thing when we're talking about this pause progress. It is to help us to improve effectively, focusing in on what we are looking for in that end goal, but also taking the time to appreciate what we have accomplished in the past. So I'm only doing 15 minutes, so I need to go ahead and get to how can you make this happen for yourself. And by no means do I consider myself a guru. Everything that I share when I do these weekly lives is about things that I have tried or that I consistently do. And I just think that it's important that whenever we come across something that we find helpful, that we share it with other people instead of just hoarding it and keeping it to ourselves. So, how can you practice this pause? Well, one of the things is really honestly writing it down. I mean, if you're a typer, you can type it, but really just taking the opportunity to write it down. Write down what you have accomplished during the day, or write down what you have accomplished during the week. And as much as you can, we're not tying it to anything right now. You're simply making that effort of writing it down. And then what you're going to do is you're going to look at how that contributes towards a bigger goal, something outside of yourself. Look at what's working, what's not working, and this provides you awareness for improvement. Take a look at the progress or the wins that you already have. What have you already done so that you can celebrate those wins? And then you're going to look at how can you adjust. Oh my gosh, sorry. How can you adjust and move forward? So there's three things. You're looking at um, what's working, what's not working as it comes to how you are contributing to that overall. You're also looking at celebrating the things that you've already accomplished. And then that final is looking at how can you adjust. Taking the time to do these things will help you to become more aware, more self aware, and it'll also help you to become action oriented. Because, y'all, there are some days, and that we, right? Because all of us have made it to this point where we're so busy with sending emails or having conversations or whatever the case may be, but it's not necessarily moving the needle forward. It's not necessarily contributing to progress. And that's our focus point for today. Our focus point for today is we are appreciating where we are, but at the same time, when it comes to workplace value, when it comes to professional development, we're not just doing busy work. We're not just being busy for the sake of being busy. We are being busy in order to contribute to results, to create actions that produce something that is moving the team forward, the department forward, or the company forward towards meeting their mission. So I didn't ask if anyone had any questions, but at any point, because we are about to wind down here, if you have any questions or you have any comments, feel free to share those. I would love to hear what you have to say. I would love to answer any of those questions. Or if you're just like, well, I don't feel comfortable with asking these questions and X amount of people seeing my question, y'all just send me a message. Send me a message, and maybe it's something that I can talk about during the live next week. But my challenge for you today as we prepare to close out is to try the progress pause, to try to identify actions that you've done in a day or in a week, jot it down and tie it to how it has contributed to that overall goal, and look at what's working, what's not working. Celebrate what you have already done. I guarantee you, you've done so much. And then that last piece is to see if there is any opportunity for adjustment. And then, of course, as always, I would love to have you join me next week when we go live again at 5:30 Central Time. And just remember that progress isn't just built, it doesn't just happen. It's something that is noticed. And when we want other people to notice the work, not all the time will people notice the work that we do, but it's important for us to notice the work that we are doing, for us to take ownership and pride in the work that we are doing, because it does make a difference. And many times it requires us to know first before others take notice as well. Let's see here. Good to focus. Yes, focus on the goal setting. Absolutely, Annette. Focus on that goal setting piece, because here's the thing. It gives us that, we talked about the windshield and the rearview mirror. It gives us that windshield. It gives us that opportunity to see what's ahead, and then those milestones as well along the way. Celebrating the major wins and the wins that aren't so major. Let's see here. I like that you mentioned that the things we are doing and have done will contribute towards your future goals. Absolutely, Natasha. Yeah, absolutely, because they do. They absolutely do. I think a lot of times we stay in a future mindset where we think, well, once I complete that overall future goal, then that's going to be the thing that gets me there. But no, every single thing that we've done and the things that we are contributing to, it creates a blueprint, but it's up to us to identify what that is as we move forward. Well, y'all, we're coming close here. We got a couple more minutes, but we're coming close here to that 15-minute mark. And I want to stay true to the 15 minutes. But at any time, if you have questions, if you have comments or anything along those lines, message me. But more than anything, throughout this week, I want you to remember to stay adding value, because the value that you have is absolutely amazing, and it's something that deserves to be shared with others. All right, y'all, that's it. Have a good one. Peace out. Bye.